What's up, Synergy community of EXP Realty? My name is Joe DeRaffaelli. You guys know me. I'm your host for our awesome Power 30 conversations, where we bring in another superstar somewhere from around the world who's crushing the game of real estate. And today it is my honor, my privilege to invite one of my closest friends on the entire planet, a gentleman that I met over 25 years ago at a Mike Ferry productivity school. If you haven't attended a productivity school for Mike Ferry, it's where you stand for 5 days and you practice your scripts over and over and over and over again. And he and I, much like in the hip hop battle days, were role play battle partners where we constantly pushing each other to see what better version of ourselves we can find. And we've been pretty well thick as thieves ever since. So I'd like to introduce my good friend, Ty Leon-Guerrero. What's up, Ty?
Hey, Joe. Thanks for having me, and great to be with you guys. This is awesome.
So tell them where you're from, Ty.
So I'm in Northern California. I am in Solano County, Contra Costa County, Alameda County. Grew up in Vallejo, California. We have an office in Walnut Creek, California. People know that. We're also in Fairfield, California. So we fix, flip, we wholesale, we own rentals, we do short-term rentals. And then, of course, as everybody does, we're in the brokerage business as well, and we list and sell. And that's, of course, I love Joe in that Joe and I have always pushed each other. We've supported each other. We call each other mirror, because usually not usually, always, when great things are happening for Joe, great things are happening for me, and vice versa. And so we've always just really thrived on having a great relationship where we support each other, but we also encourage and push each other and hold each other accountability. So thank you, Joe, for having me.
So one of the fun things that we did for years, and this went on forever, if one of us was doing something awesome, like sitting on floor seats at a Warriors game, or getting on a private jet to fly somewhere, or you name it, on a beach with a spectacular sunrise, we would immediately take a picture and send it to the other to let them know that their life was about to get an upgrade because the other one of us was doing something awesome. Now, also, consequently, when things are going well, sometimes I'll call Ty, sometimes he'll call me and say, hey, keep your momentum going because I got good stuff going. I don't need you dragging me down with negative thinking or negative activity, right?
That's 100% momentum, baby, momentum. And, momentum is contagious, right? So like, even like this call, we want to be around people that are winning, people that are growing. Even if you're in a season where you're maybe not winning, just being around other people who are winning naturally will pull you up. And so that's always been our theme. And no, I love it, Joe. Thank you for having me.
So what comes to mind for me, on that subject is something that we've supported each other on beyond just having the good times. It's about the work ethic. And I was listening to an interview from Kobe Bryant. It was an old interview, but it was replayed about a week ago. And they were teammates of his. And they said that, if Kobe wasn't passing you the ball, it's because he knows you didn't put in the work in practice. And the one thing that Ty and I started off doing early in our career is role playing every day, improving that skill set, pushing each other to get better and better and better. And so for all of you that are out there, this is a 25-year plus relationship that all started from role playing. But as Ty said, it's about lifting each other up and making each other the best version of ourselves. Was every day that we've had all sunshine and roses? No, we've been through some challenges, but keep pushing through, keep persevering. So for those of you that are in the group that have been on these calls before, you know how this goes. I'm going to rapid fire out some questions to Ty. If you have questions, I'm going to ask that you put them in the chat. I will likely slip those in during our interview. If not, we'll open it up at the end. And then to remind Ty, we want the real deal, the whole story. We're not looking for the candied version. Let's get in and get after it. So you started your business early on, had a lot of success, but you were one of the first people that transitioned quickly into being an investor. Now, I know you still represent clients, but your focus is also on investing. And I've watched you build a phenomenal empire property. You've got an army of people out there looking for properties for you to buy, whether they're fix and flips or whatever the opportunities. Let's talk about the investing side. Cody Lewis, who you've heard me talk about in the past, he and I talk about investing all the time in different things, but a lot of times agents forget to be their own best clients. So I just like to hear your thoughts on how you looked at what attracted you, what brought you into the investing side.
Yeah, I love it, Joe. Thank you for that. So, even before I became an agent, before I even became a broker, some of you may be old enough to remember there was a program out there called Carlton Sheets. And Carlton Sheets was the original, I see Joe nodding his head. He was the original OG of gurus. And if you think about in the early to mid 80s, I was one of these kids watching TV and I would see all those infomercials, Tony Robbins and Carlton Sheets. And so I naturally gravitated toward that and was like, okay, I may not go out and buy a, $500 program, as an early new agent back then. But I would read books. Let me go to the bookstore. Let me buy some books. And so even before I was an agent, I had bought my first rental property. And originally when I got my license, I was just going to okay, I'll get my license so that I can have access to the MLS. And I was going to keep my day job, which was landscape. I was also side hustling, doing installs and doing yard maintenance, lawn care, that kind of thing. And I was like, okay, if I can just maybe buy, one property every year, one property every other year was kind of my mindset. And so when I got licensed as an agent, a friend of mine said, hey, I think you'll be really good at this. My mom bought all these Mike Ferry tapes. And I didn't know who Mike Ferry was. And I'm like, holy smoke. So, for me, it was like the perfect storm of I knew to be your best client and get into the game to buy rentals. But then all of a sudden now I had the fuel and the drive of Mike Ferry of just go out and talk to people, go out and door knock, go out and cold call. And then of course, meeting great people like Joe D, meeting people like Alex Lear, just being surrounded. And I think, again, I love this group because it's groups like this in these small, intimate groups. You don't even realize it for some of you if you're new to this, but it's in groups like this that you're going to grow the most, where you're going to meet some of your best friends, some of the most influential people. But I always knew that and then from that point, I was like, okay, the best investment you can make, I thought, was real estate. But no, what I learned was the best investment was myself, right? So going to workshops, going to seminars, going to boot camps, buying programs. I joke, I used to jokingly say, but I know this is true for Joe, for myself, for some of the people I've mentioned, some of our, inner circle. Everybody in that inner circle spent at least $250,000 on their education. And I'm not talking about going to Ivy League schools or universities. I'm talking about going to boot camps, workshops, seminars, coaching, mentorships, things like that. And so that's kind of, the long answer to a short question, but it's investing in yourself, number one, and then going out and being your best client and buying deals and figuring out how to get a piece of deals.
What I find is interesting is your timing is spot on, because as the entire real estate landscape is shifting right now from one market to another. One of the things that typically when there's a shift happening, what I notice is agents are cutting costs, they're cutting their expenses. And, you and I rode through a couple of market transitions, one major one together. And what's interesting is that the group that we surrounded ourselves with during those times where the market got tougher, we were reinvesting in ourselves at an even higher level. And it reminds me of what one of our early coaches, Tim Wood, had shared with us. And he said, what you earn in a year, you'll likely spend in a year. But what you learn in a year, you have the rest of your life to spend each and every year. And so I appreciate you bringing up that education component. So one of the things that I think you stand out from the crowd of real estate people is how you have separated yourself from just being, the one trick pony. I can list your home or I can help you buy your home, and competing against hedge funds and all the other different ways that people have. You have a multitude of ways that when you meet with a potential, we'll call a client, somebody that needs to sell some real estate, doesn't matter if you're investing or what have you, they have a property they need to get rid of. Let's talk about some of the offerings that you have that you can give people, and how that diversification has helped you win.
Yeah. So, and I would say that like going back early on, I always was running two different businesses. So I was running my investment, fix and flip, buy and hold, creative finance. That was like one business. And then I had my brokerage business, and I even did separate advertising on it. And I wouldn't say that there was shame. There was definitely no shame, but there was definitely like this, like some fear of like, I don't want people to think that I'm, trying to do something, or, whatever the case may be. There was this fear, kind of a conversation of fear in my head about it. And so I always ran the advertising as two different things. That was early on. And I can tell you that now, started in 93, 94 to where we're at now, almost 3 decades, that, now more than ever, I'm completely proud of blending the two brands, and that really being an investor agent or an agent investor. I think that's the wave of the future, and that you literally have to be able to go in there and lay out multiple solutions. And I would say like a good doctor, or like a good attorney, or like a good tax, a CPA, or like any real true practitioner, a professional one, rather than me make an assumption and try to sell somebody something, or just throw a solution at them, or hey, let's list it, or hey, let me buy it. What I think you have to do, and what I encourage, is that asking a lot of really good questions and really understand what is their real problem. What's the root problem? Not just the surface problem they want to sell, but what's the deep root problem of, they've got some financial issues, they got some health issues, they got some tenant problems, really getting down to the core of what the problem is, and then laying out, okay, here are solutions. I can buy your property. We can do, maybe we can do something together. I can help you clean it up, and, we can do something together, or let's list it. But really being able to analyze and really being able to properly diagnose the situation and provide solutions to people, I think is key.
So what I love is you're in the diagnosis, but you don't go with a preset and agenda. You know that the objective is to help them in the manner that helps them best. And then you're available with multiple solutions. So they're looking at you of going, wow, this guy can solve my problem multiple ways, versus this guy or gal has only got one way they can help me, and that doesn't really fit well. I love the way you broke that down. That is absolutely spectacular. Is there anything else you want to add on that? Because I do have some additional questions.
No, I just think that something that you are a master of, and I see like Dave Reichert here. I see a lot of really great people on this call as I'm looking on my phone, so I got to squint, but I see the list of participants. I got these too, right?
Got nothing to do with your age. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I'm still young and handsome, but point being is that I think a lot of people, if they've been around you, if you haven't spent a lot of time with Joe, you need to spend more time with Joe. This group is a winning group. And one of the things I know, Joe, you've always taught me, you and I have always been, in deep conversation of asking really good questions, really connecting with people at a much higher level, at a much deeper level. And when you have the ability to do that, then you can really get to the root problem. So I think, a lot of people get confused on what sales is, right? They think it's these clever words, or this clever close, or this clever phrase, or, clever questions, but really it's being able to care and connect deeply with people so you can figure out what's going on with them. So anyway, I love it. Keep going with the questions, Joe.
So one of the things I'm going to kind of pivot a little bit is I want to talk about, the elephant in the room. When there's a market shift, and there's instability and uncertainty in terms of how things are going to be turned out. You've ridden through multiple market shifts. And I mean, probably the biggest market collapse. You didn't just thrive. You absolutely exploded in your business. And at the same time, you had boats burning all around you going into that. I know the pain, the challenges, the stress, the pressure, and yet through all that, you absolutely exploded your business. And I was one of the guys that rode your coattails as part of that, of saying, dude, I need to be doing what you're doing because that's the only game in town. But what I want to talk to is from the mindset, the emotional standpoint of when, that uncertainty, that fear, that unknown is starting to creep its way in and really trying to get louder and louder in your head. What are some tips and techniques that you can give to people that maybe haven't been through something like that on how they can help persevere, how they can win?
Yeah. So again, I said it again. I said it earlier. I'll probably say it 6 more times on this call, but it's the network, right? It's the people you surround yourself. So like, I only talk to literally 3 to 4 to 5 people, that I consistently have really good conversations. Joe being one of them, Alex Lear being one of them, a couple other, just a handful, like a really small circle of people. Not because I'm so selective. It's just that I really making like people that were in alignment, people that are positive, people that are real. That's even more important than being positive, is authentic and real. People that are going to call me out when, hey, you're playing small, or hey, not only that, but people that I can also share, hey, I'm a little fearful, I'm a little concerned, and if you're not a little concerned about what's going on, then I would say take another look. This market is going to shift. And so I think a little bit of concern, fear, curiosity, whatever you want to call it, is a good thing. Use it as a tailwind. Use it as a tailwind, but acknowledge it. The elephant in the room, right? Like, acknowledge that, hey, there's going to be some shifts and there's going to be some damage here. And the key is, how do you minimize, how do you mitigate, how do you eliminate that potential risk to you and your family? How do you get ahead of it? Okay. So that NAR is going to drop some numbers, I believe, today. And the news, we think everybody knows, but not everybody knows. The news is really going to go viral. If you thought the market was slow or there was a shift, it's going to really shift over the next probably 2 or 3 days. And then really over the next 2 or 3 weeks, we're going to see even a more dramatic slowdown, and because the news is going to be negative. So you want to prepare for it. You want to get ahead. You want to anticipate. The other thing is, I would say, is control the controllables. Like, so as an example, I'm back, Joe has always consistently been getting up, working out. There was a time when Joe, for probably a good 9 months to a year, Joe and I were talking every day at like 5 a.m. And then I fell off, Joe, kind of transitioned. He's still working out. He's got his trainer. I kind of transitioned a little bit, got comfortable. Everything's going well. Well, guess what? I'm up early. I'm up at 4:30. I'm in a good conversation. I'm in a conversation, like, talking to a buddy of mine, coaching each other, helping each other, just checking in, encouraging each other for the day. So I think being in those conversations, I'm listening to more audiobooks, I'm listening to more podcasts. Some of the stuff that I'm listening to is to learn and to kind of figure out, okay, what are other people thinking about with this economy? But also a lot of it's just positive. Like, how do you keep your mindset positive? Listening to things like Tony Robbins or Joel Osteen, or, whatever it is for you that's positive and encouraging, so just really getting yourself into a good positive state. And then the other thing is that, even like right now, I'm on a job site, I'm at one of the projects, but I brought a folding table and my laptop, so that, guess what? When I get off with you, I'm going to be making my calls. I'm going to be doing my follow-up. I got workers in the background, but guess what? Head down, doing the work, controlling the controllables. What can I control? What I listen to. Audiobooks, positive, good conversations with good people, great podcast interviews, things like this, Zooms like these. I'm going to be on these. This is where I'm going to spend my time. And then what else am I doing? I'm doubling down on my work. So if you were making, 15, 20 contacts a day, well, guess what? Now, maybe it's going to take 40 to 50 contacts a day. So just controlling the controllables is a big focus right now. And I think that's one thing that'll push and carry everybody through. If you can control the controllables and double down on your work ethic, you're not only going to survive and thrive, you're going to position yourself to dominate if you like.
Dude, I absolutely, like, if this was a campfire right now, I'd be like warming my hands. Like, I absolutely love that. And I really, I love what you talked about being selective in what you're exposing yourself to. And you put it in a very elegant way. And like, you're real clear on the 4 or 5 people that you were going to be speaking to that you knew would uplift you. And I would tell everybody in the Synergy community, one of the benefits that we have as a community is surrounding ourselves and uplifting ourselves. Listen, are deals going to fall apart? Yes. Are there going to be challenges? Absolutely. I know for me, we had a rule on my team that if you told one bad story, one problem about one deal falling apart, you needed to follow it up with 3 good things that followed. Right? We had to overwhelm the ratio of positive versus negative. So, Ty, that is absolutely spot on. And a shout out to Cody about his comment about acknowledging any of fears helps eliminate that fear, right? Instead of that thing being quiet and hidden and growing as a monster in the corner, you're just like taking him out at the knees. Like, yep, you exist, but you're not going to dominate me. All right. So, you do an interview every Friday, and you've been doing that interview for, I think it's about 2 years by now, right? Because I know
2 years.
It has been one of my regular, if not on Friday where I catch it live, I'm on replay by Saturday morning. You and Michael Zuber, and Michael, financial analysts, Wall Street, he gets economics on a macro, micro level. Cody Lewis, by the way, I think I tagged you or sent you one of their videos they've done, right up our alley. Let's talk about what the insight is about staying plugged in as to the reality, right? Because there's a lot of hype out there. The newspaper is always pushing headlines, but the value of good intel and what you and Michael cover, how does that help you on a week in and week out basis?
Yeah, thank you for that, Joe. So Michael Zuber, I know I see some of the comments, people are like, Michael Zuber, fire, he lays it down 1000%. And I'll just share it. Like Michael, I met Michael about 4 or 5 years ago and instantly said, this guy is really smart. I need to be connected with him. Same thing like when I met you, Joe. Same, like, this is somebody I need in my life. And so, I figured out a way to like, hey, Michael, what if we did this thing and I interviewed you on Fridays? We do what's called a Friday financial news wrap up. It's on YouTube. His channel is called One Rental at a Time. And again, it's Michael Zuber. This guy's brilliant. This guy worked in Silicon Valley, worked for HP, ran a sales division. This guy could work anywhere in the country. He could be at Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan. He could be running a hedge fund. I mean, this guy's really, really brilliant. So he literally spends probably 15 to 20 hours a week, and that's probably conservative, reading all the news, clickbait, all the different headlines, all of everything. And then he digests it into what's called a daily news, financial daily news. And it's about a 10 or 15 minute show that he does daily. And then on Fridays, I get the pleasure of interviewing him. It's really my coaching call with him, jokingly, but serious, right? So I get to interview him, and then I just get to summarize, okay, what happened this week? And so we capsulate everything that happened for the week, and we do it. I mean, we've literally missed maybe 2 or 3 weeks in 2 years. We've missed, even during the holidays, even when I'm on vacation, even when he's on vacation, we still do it. And the beauty is this: it's great to know the news when you can see it happen. And I literally, Joe, on the weekend, this last weekend, I went back and watched some old episodes, just kind of picked one from 6 months ago, picked one random, picked one from 12 months ago. He literally has been calling this market literally months and months ahead, telling you what to anticipate. So if nothing else from this call, and by the way, he presents the news in a way that is accurate and honest, number one, not clickbait, because he doesn't care about if he gets 100 views, 100,000 views. He's not sensationalized. He's not making money from YouTube per se, like some people, right? If you click on it, you watch their video, they make a penny. right? A penny per view. He's doing it to be accurate and to inform his audience, number one. But then number two, what I love about it is he says, this is what's happening. This is what's going to happen. And here's where the opportunity is. So as an example, he did a whole series about house hacking. Like last week, he did a whole interview. He's doing a whole series on house hacking. I did a class for him where we did talking about pre-foreclosures and what the opportunity, because really pre-foreclosures have not taken off yet, but they will take off in the next, I think, 6 to 9 months. It's going to be heavy. You're going to see pre-foreclosures triple, quadruple. And guess what? That means a lot of opportunity if you're prepared to know what you're doing. So Michael Zuber, one rental at a time, follow him.
I love it. And I think a lot of that is you're getting the news through the windshield versus through the rearview mirror of where most people are getting it is after it occurred, is you guys are talking about, here's what's coming, here's what the numbers are indicating, here's what we're looking at. So that is spot on. Now I'm going to do a quick shift in question as we come to the wrap up of our time. Go back in your mind. I know you mentor a lot of people that are new to investing, people that are on the phones looking for opportunities for you. What tactics do you use, or what do you recommend people doing at the start to get money flowing in terms of opportunities? Like what would you point somebody in the direction of?
Yeah, so I would say that somebody newer, know thyself, right? So if you're, of the sales animal type and you can knock doors or cold call, I would say knock doors, cold call like a madman or mad woman, and really just double down and really just get out there and talk to a lot of people. And really in today's market, it's being able to separate people that in 3 buckets. And I did this with my sales team this morning, kind of a new distinction of thought just to help my sales team. So it's like the first bucket, people that need to. Second bucket, people that want to. And then the third bucket is people that are interested, curious, thinking about, right? So right now in today's market, we need to really put our focus on new lead generation, and we need to be able to sort and sift that and say, okay, the people we need to spend the most amount of time are the need to. Those are the people that are going to sell, people that you can monetize, but also people that you can serve at the highest level, people you can help, people you can provide solutions. So that's number one. Also, to know thyself. If you're somebody that's a little bit more introverted, you're not comfortable in calling, you're not comfortable in door knocking, whatever the case may be, well, figure out a way that you can go and support somebody. Maybe you're doing open houses. Maybe you can do some email campaigns. Maybe you can help someone else join a team, and like you can still be in a sales component, but maybe you're helping run some email campaigns, some past client campaigns, sorting, sifting. Maybe you can help with showings. Maybe you can help with open houses. Maybe there's other areas, but I would say whatever it is, you got to get really active in this market. We've all, I think culturally, we've all been conditioned to be a little bit more passive. And I'll tell you, honestly, I found myself so many times, I'm like, I don't want to leave my house. I could just do it over the phone. If I can't do it over the phone and do it over a DocuSign, then they're not really motivated. That's a bullshit story I was making up. I was missing opportunities. And so for me right now, just getting out, right? Getting out and getting in front of people, going to see people, doing pop buys, going to see, if you have somebody that's on the fence and they're thinking, hey, schedule a time to go over and present a CMA. Even if you don't have any hot appointments today, let's get a CMA and let's just get in front of people. And not only that, let's get really oriented with the news, with Michael Zuber's information, so we can talk elegantly and coach people through, here's what's really going on, and cut through all the bullshit headlines. So I think just really positioning yourself to be an expert and be able to consult and have high level conversations that are different than other agents are having with people. So
what my wrap up is this. Got to get out and see people, right? This is a belly to belly business. They say it's a contact sport. You got to make contact with people. And I love what you said. Open houses are back in season again. I got a call earlier today from one of my past clients who got a job offer to move to Kansas City. And she was asking me questions. And I said, do you need me to set you up with a real estate agent? She goes, no, I met this great gal at an open house. And I was like, good for that agent. She's out there doing stuff that a lot of agents aren't doing. So contact sport, get back in contact with people. I love the fact that keep your eye focused on what's happening, where the opportunities are, like what you and Michael Zuber are doing on the financial news wrap up, and then control the controllables. Be selective as to what you're exposing yourself to and who you're surrounding yourself with. I love it, Ty. This is absolutely outstanding. I'm just going to turn it back to you for one last thing. Any closing comments that you would like to leave that maybe I didn't ask or that you didn't get a chance to address yet?
No, I want to leave just something that was kind of unsaid, that just kind of collaboration in 2022 in this new era of whatever we're in with tech and, like the way the world's changing, we need to collaborate more than ever. So like, as an example, I think there's 22 people on here. Like even like Matt as an example, somebody that's collaborating. He and I are collaborating on stuff. He's in your network. He's a friend of yours. He's a part of this group. He's in Vegas. Even though we're remote, it's like, you know what, Matt and I've got to know each other. We're getting into some deals together. We're going to develop something to where, you and, even with you, Joe, and with Cody, and just how can you collaborate with more people? And I think, again, yeah, I love that. Collaboration is currency. 100%. How can you collaborate? And then I think also too, when we show up, something that was unsaid, when we show up, the number one thing we should be looking at is not what can I get, but what can I give? How can I add value? What can I do for you, Joe? How can I support you? And that's always been like, when you and I get on the phone, Joe, it's always, hey, what's going on with you? And I know it's like, you're genuinely asking. I can tell you, hey, this is going on with my kids, or I'm a little concerned or worried about this project or whatever. But it's like, literally, what can I give? We show up and say, what can I give? How can I add value? Because in life, you get what you give. You get what you give. And meaning that when you show up to give and serve and help and collaborate and add a lot of value, guess what? The law of reciprocity. The world is going to flood you with abundance. Your life is, you're going to be blessed and blessed and blessed. But I think just that shift in mindset, squadding up. And I love, like, with what you guys are doing with EXP, what you're doing with your downline, what you're doing with this call. Like, I know for sure, Joe, you and I are going to do more stuff together, free, premium, freemium we talked about, where we're going to just figure out how can we support and add more value to more people. So that, I would say, is collaboration and squatting up and adding more value to others.
Dude, I absolutely, that is a tremendous close. What I'm going to ask everybody to do right now is unmute yourself, and let's give a big thank you to Ty for taking the time out of his extremely busy schedule to share some pearls with us. Go ahead and unmute, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ty.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
I love it.
Super
You
Ty.
guys.
Thank you.
You're absolutely walking the talk, the give economy. You just took time out of your day to give to all of us. And of course, I thank you, but I know everybody on here, you've made a difference in some lives today, my friend. All right, for everybody, I appreciate you tuning in to our Power 30 call with the Synergy Group. We're going to wrap up here in just a moment, but I see Cody Lewis is unmuted. Usually means he's got something that he wants to throw in. So my partner in crime, Mr. Cody Lewis.
No, I was just going to mention that I'm sitting over here trying not to be mad at you that you haven't introduced me earlier to Ty. Yeah, what's up with that, Joe? Huh?
Hey, I know who you are, Cody. I have your
Yeah.
spreadsheet. I have one of your spreadsheets from 2 years ago that I use. So trust me, I know you're genius. I'm looking forward to connecting with you in person and getting to know you better. So believe me, I know you, brother. I know who you are. I see you.
Thank you for taking your time to do this. We really appreciate it.
All
Thank
right,
you, guys.
y'all.
Have a great day, guys. Thank you.
Keep your mind right. We'll